Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So, whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or trade the stuff that strokes your engine, anything from truck parts to classic and muscle cars, RVs to hot rods, and everything in between, then check out our official classifieds at racingjunk.com. Racingjunk.com is the world's #1 online racing and performance marketplace, the ultimate one-stop shop where you'll find what you need to rock your ride. If it belongs in your garage, it's for sale on racingjunk.com. Log on to racingjunk.com to find the gear you're looking for, sell your extra stuff, keep up on racing news and tech tips, and more. Again, that's racingjunk.com. Gear up and show your support. Women's Motorsports Network t-shirts, sweatshirts, and hats are now available online. Wrap your passion for women in racing with stylish apparel from Black Acid Racing Apparel. Shop now at www.blackacidracingapparel.com. Wear it, share it, support it. Women's Motorsports Network. Black Acid Racing Apparel. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is my friend Dina. Dina has been involved in drag racing and some other very interesting careers. And she's also very passionate about safety in motorsports. And so I wanted to have her on so we could talk about that a little bit. So first, Dina, I want to welcome you to the show. And would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Melinda, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a hot minute since since we have spoken.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. So, hello to the listeners. My name is Dina Parise. I am a former pro figure skater turned pro drag racer. I know that sounds odd, but it actually makes sense in my head. Uh, I am a drag racer. I run Pro Mod. So I have a 3,000 horsepower Cadillac. Her name is Stella, named after my grandma, who never had a driver's license. That's so hilarious. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was 2015 IHRA Pro Mod World Champion, and that's about it. I mean, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
And before drag racing, though, you did some interesting things. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because transitioning from that career to drag racing, I still am amazed about that. So go ahead and tell us, what were you doing in your 20s?
So in my 20s, I was a professional figure skater for the Ice Capades. Unfortunately, some of the younger set may not know what that is. But kind of like a Disney on Ice, but we were a little bit more, they called us a variety show instead of, we didn't have just characters. I did that for about 4 years. And it's funny because I do tell people that, skating in the ice show and drag racing in a series, they're actually more parallel than people would think. When we were skating in the show, of course, we were putting on a show, we were entertaining. And it's the same thing with drag racing. It's totally entertainment. We went from city to city to different venues. And many times we would see the same fans, we would see the same workers, like the locals as we call them. And same thing with the drag racing. We go to different tracks. We see a lot of the same track workers. We'll see a lot of the same fans that will, come and see us and come to our pit area. And it was an amazing way to spend part of my 20s. I got to travel the United States, skate in an ice show, and feel like a megastar every night. I wasn't, but it made you feel that way.
Sure.
It was just super cool. And I enjoyed, sometimes we would do autograph signings after the show, kind of by the door of the arena. Much like we'll sign autographs in our pit area. And that's, for me, that's my favorite part, is the fans, just getting to hang out with the fans, because drag racing, every ticket's a pit pass, so all
Yeah.
of our fans get to come in and hang out with us and ask us questions. And the good thing for our marketing partners is they get to see our marketing partners up close and personal, and we actually get to discuss what their products are about, right, to people face to face.
Right. That's so much better than a lot of the other kinds of
Yeah.
sports. Especially, a NASCAR driver doesn't have a chance to talk to you really face to face about what's on his car, even though you can buy a pit pass and go in the pits, but there's you and 100 other people, So,
Yeah.
yeah, so much drag racing does it right in that way. Promoting a track takes heart, and now showing appreciation can be just as easy. With send-out cards, you can thank sponsors, volunteers, drivers, and fans with personalized digital cards sent right from your phone or laptop. Add a photo, write a message, and hit send. It's that simple. Unlimited sends for just $10 a month. Go to sendoutcards.com/53240. That's sendoutcards.com/53240, because gratitude builds great tracks.
I definitely feel like drag racing, and it's not a knock to NASCAR, but we in drag racing, you buy that one ticket, you don't need the golden ticket to be able to go back into the garage area or the pit area,
Mm-hmm.
as we say.
Right.
We have, everything is right there, and it's hands on, and many times they can, for certain things, touch and feel and really get a hands on experience.
Right. Right. So much better. And
Yeah,
it makes them come back for sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. So you got into drag racing. Was that because of your husband, or how did that happen?
I got into drag racing much to my husband's dismay, but it was his fault. He he had built, where we were married in April, 25 years, so it's been a minute. Um, he had built a 1967 Camaro. It had a blower on it, just like our cars have the whole entire time. That's what we like to run. And my very first race that I went to with him was, I'll never forget, it was Maple Grove. It was a Super Chevy. And I watched, I got to stand on the line and watch that car go down the racetrack. And I was hooked from that moment on. I was in my early 30s. I actually had never been to a drag race. I'd been to other types of races. I'd never been to a drag race. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love with, of course, the fast cars, the sounds, the smells, and the
Mm-hmm.
people, the camaraderie. The people are
Yeah.
amazing, from the fans to our fellow racers. It's a great community all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, the people, and just it's like going back every weekend to hang out with your family. And sometimes it's more fun than hanging out with your real family. So there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been out of racing for a little while, but you're going to get back into it. Do you want to share about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've been out for I'm gonna say since like right right around COVID-ish time.
Yep.
And we
2020 was COVID.
yeah, so I think it was about 2019. We wound up in COVID, we got rid of the rig and everything. It was a big nut and we didn't know how long it was going to be to pay for it and not use it. So we said, well, we'll just have to start over, which that's what we're doing now. It's been about 2 years. We purchased a new to us, but not new. It's actually a 2001 Ultra Comp trailer. It was an old NASCAR trailer. Um, Jason Hogan was his name. He lives near up near our shop, and we purchased the trailer and a truck for it. And Andrew actually remodeled the whole inside of the trailer. He gutted the lounge and put in a bathroom and a shower, because this girl needs a shower on
Uh-huh.
those race days. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
Sometimes I just hop in there just to cool off. And
Right.
and so it's pretty much done and pretty much ready to go. It has been a process. In the interim of these last couple of years, life has been lifing like it
Yep.
does. And throwing some monkey wrenches in here and there. So my husband had an illness and he's still kind of battling with that, but he is the Energizer Bunny. He keeps going.
Yep.
And we've had other things with my parents, and then my mom passing away. So just life stuff. So
Right.
we're definitely pushed behind in schedule due to these things, but we weren't planning on testing in the summer, when it's a gazillion degrees. And quite frankly, this sounds very off, but that's swamp ass city,
Yep.
because it's so hot. But you know what? We're gonna do what we have to do. If we have
Yeah.
to test in the summer, we will. And so I've been just putting some feelers out for that to see
Now,
where
where
we
will
want
you
to go.
go to do that? Do you know?
We're not certain just yet.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and at this point, we need data. We've made
Yeah.
changes. We had made changes to the motor, and then we had not gone back out. So we made some changes, and it's gonna be definitely a learning curve. And just getting myself comfortable back in the seat again.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
just talking about safety. We actually just did a new poured in seat, which it actually is mandatory, but I would say for anybody who wants to feel safe and kind of snuggly in their race car, I
Yeah.
highly recommend a poured in seat. It's
Okay.
definitely makes a difference. If God forbid something happens, it is going to absorb a lot of the shock.
Yeah.
So, it's going to keep your body from getting too beat up.
Right. Well, let's talk about safety a little bit. You posted a couple things on Facebook, and
Mhm.
it kind of pushed me to reach out to you and have you come on and talk about the importance of safety. I think it's something we don't talk about near enough. And then, you know, um, I know you've got a couple stories about people who don't think it's as important as you and I do. So why don't you go ahead and just share about safety and why it's so important?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you're right. Safety is something that for some reason is so overlooked. I find that people will want to spend a gazillion dollars on their motor to go faster, but yet they're going to complain about the price of safety equipment to keep them safe and alive.
Right.
God forbid something happens. And it's not like, and I think sometimes people are like, oh, you're doom and gloom. I'm not doom and gloom. I don't want to see anything happen to anyone. But being an experienced racer for 20 years, I've seen things, I've experienced things on my own that that have really led me to want to say to people, look, you need to be proactive, not reactive, because that's what happens. Everybody, when there's that corner in your town where there's a million car crashes, and then finally you get somebody to put a light, you get
Yeah.
the powers that be to put up a stop sign or a light, that you're being reactive. Just be proactive and do it and take care of it before something else happens.
Yeah.
So I think that people forget that your head is very heavy. God forbid you're in a crash, how your head is heavy, and then with the helmet on it, it's heavier. So you want to make sure that you have that neck protection,
Mhm.
whether it be the neck ring or whether it be, like a hybrid of some sort, Hans, whatever, neck device. And who cares if it's mandated? That's one thing people are like, well, it's not mandated. Who cares?
Right.
It's not mandated that you wear underwear either, but you do, don't you? So I'm just saying,
I hope
like,
so.
right? So if it's, who cares that it's not mandated? You know, we when we ran in the beginning the 67 Camaro, Andrew was building his Pro Mod and I had stepped into the 67. And then eventually we had two Pro Mods. We got rid of the 67 and had two Pro Mods. But when I ran the 67, that car ran 890s. And I'm going back 20 something years, right?
Right.
I actually wore a Hans device. And I had some guy in the staging league. He's like, he goes, oh, what do you think? You're John Force. And I said, well, if God forbid something happens, I hit the wall, something happens. I said, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be protected. And then I can get out and make my crew guys a sandwich for lunch. So
Right.
this way I'm safe and nobody misses lunch. It's a win-win if you
Yeah.
ask me, right?
Yeah.
So these things, it just makes me crazy that people will spend so much on their program, but safety is an afterthought. We really need to get people to understand, especially now,
Yeah.
because cars on different levels, they're just getting faster and faster.
Mhm.
And we need to, even if it's not mandated, we need to keep up with what the car is doing, not what the rule book's doing,
Yeah.
even at that point. So, and this is not a hate to anybody, total observation. So let me preface
Right.
this with that. JJ the boss from Street Outlaws, at one point, he had a pretty nasty crash, and I think he crashed into his wife's car. I believe they crashed together at, on a street race.
Mhm.
And the fact remains that young people watch this and everybody
Sure.
thinks it's so cool, which is great. It is cool. When they showed, he was pretty banged up. He had on a cutoff shirt, jeans, and his helmet, I think he got it from Evel Knievel in 1975
Yep.
because it had no face shield. You
Mm.
know, his face was all banged up, and I just don't understand. I get the street racing thing. It's, you got to be cool. I get it. But there's the flip side of that where you have all these kids and everything that are paying attention to what you do. And it just, we have kids coming up in the ranks, and I want them to be able to take the safety aspect of it seriously.
Well, and like you say, yeah, you have to be cool, but you're not cool if you die or if you're permanently damaged and you can't race
Exactly.
again. It's not worth it.
It's not. And I also will watch sometimes in-car videos. People will
Mhm.
post in-car videos, and I'll see someone that's in a relatively fast car, no gloves,
Yeah.
visor up. If you have fire and your visor's up, your face is going to get burnt.
Yep.
You're going to inhale more smoke than you may if your visor was down and locked.
Yep.
Not to say that you're not going to inhale it, but maybe less than
Right.
you would. And as far as the gloves, we were selling safety equipment at one point, and a gentleman wanted to buy a jacket, and he said, well, I'll wear my jeans. And I said, well, okay. I said, you may as well just get the whole suit. Just, get the suit, get the shoes, do what you need to do. And he didn't want gloves. I was like, you really don't want a pair? No. And I said, well, I asked him, I said, what do you do for a living? So he tells me he's a plumber.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, because he was a hobby racer. And I said, okay. I said, you are aware that fire burns at 0 miles per hour, right? And it stopped him for a second. And I said, I'm going to say it again.
Yep.
Fires burns at 0 miles per hour. You don't need to be going anywhere to be on fire.
Yep.
So I've seen it happen at the line. I've seen it happen in pit areas. With a startup. I've seen it happen over the
Yeah.
last few years. I've seen crazy things happen, and you never know, right? A little bit of a
Right.
spark, and there it goes. So I said to him, I said, just think about if something were to happen, a spark and a fire. your hands get burnt, how are you going to go to work?
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me. He didn't really say much, so he left without the gloves, which
Yeah.
my brain couldn't. I couldn't even wrap my brain around that.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks later, he came back and he said, I made the mistake of telling my wife what you said. And
Yeah.
for the last 2 weeks, she was on him for that 2 weeks. She was on him every
Good.
day. Why do because his thing was, I don't need gloves. I don't go as fast as you, which is why
Mhm.
I in turn said to him, fire burns at 0 miles per
Sure.
hour. It doesn't matter how fast you could be going tens. Something could happen. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just wish that people, and I always tell people, feel free to reach out to me, if you have questions about safety equipment. And have had from some of the videos that I've made, I have had people reach out and I've pointed them in the right direction.
Yeah.
um our for my class for pro mod, NHRA rules now require fresh air, which I'm really excited about because I'm a migraine sufferer, so I'm excited that I'm gonna have a little air in my helmet.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother deal. And it one of the racers, I forget who it was, one of the racers this weekend, the pro mod races in NHRA. It's funny because I was just editing a video about this because we use Safecraft for our fire suppression system. And there's a pin that goes to lock the lever of the fire suppression system. It's just a little like clip.
Mm-hmm.
So very first thing that we do in the morning, right before the first startup, is we pull that pin, because for the rest of the day, I need that fire suppression system to be active. Not
Yeah.
active, but able to be enabled.
Yes.
Um, so this driver, his run was disqualified because he left the fire pin in. And
Oh.
yeah, and I'm sure it was a mistake, and for us, we would never have gotten to that part of, and I speak for us, we would never have gotten to that part of the day, that far into the day with the pin still in. It just would never
Right.
have happened. But things get overlooked. I get it. And but you don't want to be, and I don't know how other different series like Dirt Track and that, I don't know how their fire suppression works, but I know for us, it's a lever. And I couldn't think of having to reach out and having, if you were on fire and having to reach and pull that pin out before I could pull the lever to let this fire suppression come out.
I don't know if you would even be able in
Be
that
able to.
moment to think about it.
Exactly. And that's the point, right? It's every little detail that you need to pay attention to. But if you pay attention to it always, it's going to become automatic,
Yeah.
right?
A
We
habit.
we we will replace the fire pin when we roll it back and put it in the trailer, because in the transit from going from in the trailer to out of the trailer, we want to make sure that, it doesn't, nobody hits it and, sets off the fire suppression system, just for
Right.
an example. Um, just making sure that people know how to pack their chutes properly. I have had people ask me questions about that. Now, I am not like the master chute packer, not at all. I know we have Stroud chutes. We've had them for years. I love their chutes, and I pack them. I pack them kind of according to how they say. I think everybody has their own little things that they do when they pack theirs. But, as long as you know that you push that lever and those chutes come out, you're good to go.
Yeah.
And listen, I've had an instance where I had an instance once where the chute cable broke. So I had no chute. So that was fun. And things
Yikes.
like things happen. Um, but and we check everything over. That's a huge thing too. Like, part of our safety protocol is making sure that the car has really got a good once over in between rounds. Nothing's leaking, nothing's loose, nothing's gone awry. We're big on that too.
Yeah.
And I know some racers that don't take that kind of time. um One of the things that I feel, again, this is just my opinion, I don't see often enough, is when cars are at the line and a crew member looking under the car for anything leaking.
Yikes.
There are a lot of teams that do that, but then again, there are a lot of teams that do not. So
Yeah.
I feel like, and again, just more safety precautions. A few of my biggest like, I feel like this is like Dina's pet peeve hour.
That's okay,
Right?
because Dina, we don't think about it as much as we should.
Yeah. I believe I posted a video, and it was a video where there was 8 gazillion people on the starting line.
Mhm.
And it makes me think back, because when we had the 67, my husband was in Maryland running. I had to work that weekend, unfortunately, but husband was running in Maryland, and he he let go of the trans brake, and the chrome molly drive shaft spit out of the back of the car.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So now there was one crew guy there, and he he was able to make sure that he just stepped out of the way. But I'm thinking, you see these races where there's, gangs of people on the starting
Hmm.
line standing behind the car, and something like that happens. You're in the line of fire. There
Right.
it shouldn't be that many people there. And again, things, of course, weird things happen. Totally get that. Um, I watched a I watched something, was it last week? I watched a race last week or 2 weeks ago. And I watched as crew members, as the car was doing the burnout, the crew members were walking to go to take their place to line them up, to put them in the groove
Hmm.
with their back to the car the entire time. So while the
Mm.
car was doing the burnout, their back was to the car. And I always tell people, I'm like, never turn your back to a car.
Yeah.
Just never turn your back to a car. That's like your worst enemy right there. Again, you never know what can happen. That car can move in a split second and run you over. Always know your surroundings, know where you are.
Right.
And people tell me, "Oh, you're too much." I'm like, but I'm not. I'm
No.
not. You so easily. And I've made videos about things that I won't let my crew members do. And one of those things is hold my car in the burnout.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I can't hold the car straight in the burnout, that's on me. And I don't want anybody holding or pushing. You're holding a 3,000 or 2,600 pound vehicle that's 3,000 horsepower. What do you really think that you're doing?
That's what I was just going to say. And what good is that going to be if the car starts to go? The person's not going to be able to stop it.
Yeah, and what if you get a pant leg caught or
Yeah.
something of that nature? Like, I know I'm thinking worst case scenario, but I'd rather think worst case scenario and keep myself out of
Hmm.
harm's way. So it's just things like this. So I try to make videos, and a lot of times, like, I'll be goofy and funny about it, but try to get the
Yeah.
point across. I just want people to understand that and especially the cars are just getting more and more powerful, but
Hmm.
people can tend to be more and more reckless. And I get it. It's cool to stand on the starting line. I know. I don't know why they let all those people on the starting line when they do, when they're not crew members. It
Yeah, I
really should
don't
just
either.
be crew members and track workers
Yeah.
for whatever specific car is, or cars.
Well,
Uh,
and Dina, until something catastrophic happens, they're going to let it happen. But
right,
again, they're going to be reactive instead of proactive.
right,
And
exactly.
we get eh, the longer that you're involved in something, whether no matter what it is. Um, my husband's a welder, so is he as careful every day out there in the shop as he should be? No, because he's done it for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks, oh, I'm not going to do this because I'm only going to use the welder for a second or whatever. Now he is very safety conscious, but a lot of people just get lackadaisical about what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yeah, we
And
do. We get complacent. We do.
yes.
And don't think I haven't caught myself, doing that. But, and, it's funny now because I translate a lot of that safety even to my regular car.
Hmm.
When I see people that have their feet up on the dashboard, There is nothing
Yeah.
that makes me cringe more than that. If you get into an accident, you're going to be just folded up like I don't even
Yep.
know what. So I think it's really opened my eyes, so I do translate it even to my regular life too.
Yeah. And, so let's talk a little bit about when, there are so many young kids in drag racing. You go to US 131 Motorsports Park, which is just north of me, a beautiful racetrack, and
I love
they
that
have huge
facility.
events, and they have so many kids that race. How, do you think that safety is something parents are really taught, and that, or what can we do better to make sure that, a lot of parents get into racing who've never been involved in racing, you know
Yeah.
um
And
what do we do to teach those parents how much, what they need to do, what's important, and that how can we be better about that?
yeah, I mean that's definitely, of course they're the future of our sport and we want them to start out on a good footing, right?
Right.
Um I encourage people. I mean, I'm more than happy to speak with people if need be, just because I've put myself so far into this whole safety thing over the last couple of years. Um, I I encourage people to ask questions. I encourage them to overdo safety gear.
Hmm.
Um, I don't even know if a Hans is required. I know that I think they're a neck. I think they wear the neck roll, but like that little neck
Yeah.
donut.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like a Hans or anything is required at this point or at any point for a junior dragster. But um, I also posted a video about a junior dragster kid, and I don't know how old this kid was. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. I really didn't want any information because I didn't want any hate towards the driver. It was just an
Yeah.
example where this kid was excited. I get it. And had to have the car was still going down the racetrack, was up out of the seat and like waving their arms.
Oh my gosh.
So they had to have unbuckled
Yep.
because of the position of their body. You could tell they had to have unbuckled. And
Oh.
so yeah, so it's just like, keep head and arms in ride at all times.
Yep.
Um and and they're young, so of course kids are never going to think really that anything is
Right.
going to happen. So it's has to be the parents, or even if they have their track team, everyone get together. And I really think safety is an important conversation for them to have. I don't know
Yeah.
if they do or not. I do have a friend that it was very deep in. I'm gonna have to ask her. I know she is very safety conscious herself with her kids. She never raced, but her
Yeah.
kids do, and her husband does. Um, but I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had in the beginning of the season, in the
Yeah.
middle of the season, the end of the season. It needs to be a continuous conversation. I think that pre-race meetings need to be sure that they are a thing. Uh, Sometimes they're not. Um, and another thing that I notice is I've seen people get
There.
confused at the end of a racetrack if they haven't been there before. One of the things that I do at every
Hmm.
racetrack, even if I've been there before, many of them I have. I walk the racetrack in the morning. I always walk the racetrack in the morning, just kind of refamiliarize myself with where, which way is the turnoff, where are the exits, like that kind of thing. It's That's
Right.
something that I think people don't think of is, knowing the lay of the land. Even if you've been there, you never know if something changes. Your turnoff's not going to change, but just to make sure that
Sure.
you're all refreshed and
Yeah.
you know where you're going, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Dina, how can people follow you so they can watch your videos?
Well, I appreciate that. So, all of my social media is my name. It's at Dina Parise. Or my website is dinapariseventures.com. Or you can you can put I am spicymeatball.com and you will find me because I am spicy meatball. Yeah, and I'm on, and it's always me. I'm on all I do Facebook, Instagram, uh Twitter, Threads, oh yeah, and TikTok. So you can find
Okay.
me on any of those places. Not so much
Yeah, I
Threads,
would
but
encourage. Yeah, I would encourage people to follow you and just it's just a good reminder of what we should be doing because oh, something happened, we're running late, we get to the track, we're in a hurry, we're doing this, we're doing that, but you still need that safety checklist and make sure that you've got everything the way it should be. And so I think that the videos you do are great, and it doesn't hurt to be reminded of those things.
thank you. Yes. Yeah. I mean, and it's always me on my social media. So, people can always reach out to me through a DM if they have a question. I'm more than happy to answer it. If I can't answer it, I'll refer them to someone who can.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. We've had some internet issues today, so third time was the charm. I lost you a
What?
little bit here at the end, but it's decided that it's going to storm here, so that may be part of what our issue's been. But Dina, I so appreciate you taking time to be
Nope.
on here with me, and I'm gonna end the recording here in a second. But if you'd hold on, I want to get with you before you leave.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.